Tor browser, an in-depth video about the world's best privacy-focused web browser. This browser and network have been around for a very long time, since about the late 1990s, and Tor is often associated with being the most private browser on the planet, because it runs you through a series of relays, better known as onion layers, which are three individual separate tunnels you go through before reaching the final destination, which is the web page you're visiting, except it did not directly come from your real IP address. Tor browser is prohibited or illegal in some parts of the world, such as Iran, Iraq, North Korea, etc. This is because the governments know Tor is used for censorship and freedom of speech, so they actively block or track it in countries such as China, Iran, Iraq, etc. If you are in a five-eyed country, which are America, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and the United Kingdom, then you are in a surveillance state, which means your every move is monitored by your government, although it is not always a direct form of spying, but rather, an indirect way of finding out information about you. But, it is not just the government who can potentially spy on you, it is also big tech companies such as Microsoft and Google. They also collect your personal information for advertising purposes. Tor browser and private search engines aim at keeping you private from your ISP and government, and people who do whistleblowing and actively risk their lives are the ones who usually need to use such tools. So do people who do hacking and illegal internet activity. They too have a need for Tor, but Tor was actually created by the US government, believe it or not. They invented it for some purpose. I am not exactly sure why, but that is where it originated from. Ever since, Tor has become a fundamental tool in keeping private online, as well as using private email clients such as Proton Mail. However, you are never 100% anonymous on the internet. It is not possible to be fully hidden from anyone, including the authorities and government, so you should still fear the possibility of being caught if you were to do something stupid, like engage in an illegal activity. Many people who do bad stuff on the dark web commonly get charged or prosecuted by their local agents, usually the FBI in the United States, because most of this comes from America. But if you are in other countries, doing the same thing would lead to serious consequences, so you still need to have some idea of things before you start using Tor. Do not go actively looking for illegal stuff or log into real-world accounts, because you are just blowing your cover if you do, especially if you do not use a VPN. If you use Tor in a surveillance state, your government will flag it as suspicious, which means the authorities can potentially use this information against you, for whatever reason that may be, so don't invite them to spy on you unnecessarily. Using Tor without a VPN or proxy is not safe, especially in a country like Iran. You could face a death penalty for using Tor in such places. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, Tor browser is available for Windows, Mac OS, Linux, BSD, Android, and iOS. It is very slow compared to other browsers, because it runs over the Tor network, which takes much longer to load compared to a normal browser working on a normal network. The real advantage of using Tor is to access websites that are not discoverable on the normal web. Instead, you find a lot of sites called onion sites, which have the .onion instead of the usual .com or .org. Tor is not illegal to use itself, but please be aware of the potential dangers of using it. It is not safe to use in some parts of the world, so you must do some research before using it. Using Tor is just one way you can keep private. There are so many privacy-focused tools out there, including I2P, Wireshark, Tails OS and Whonix, or Kodaki Linux, as well as various VPNs such as CyberGhost or Proton VPN. These will all help to minimize the amount of data being collected from you by your internet service provider, websites, and your authorities and government. Please note that I am not promoting any unlawful or illegal activity. I am just providing a guide on how to use Tor, and how to use it properly. Here are some things you must never do in Tor. Never maximize the Tor browser to a full tab, or else you reveal screen information that is identifiable by websites. Never sign into accounts, download files, share files, or do anything that could potentially be traceable. Never ever run Tor without a VPN or bridged connection, or else your government will red flag your internet activity. Never use search engines that lead to honeypots, which are websites that look real, but they are actually a spoofed version that will often tell people behind a backdoor that someone is using Tor, and this can be used against them. You must also never enable JavaScript or Flash Player in Tor, and always run it at the safest level of protection. Use the enhanced protection mode when using Tor. This will ensure websites cannot potentially reveal your true identity, and Tor blocks scripts, fingerprints, some cookies, and many other things, so Tor will stop ads and trackers from finding out who you are. It also stops them from being able to follow you in the first place. While Tor is great, it itself is not enough to protect you from surveillance. You must use other tools in combination with Tor to ensure a true private web browsing experience, and this can easily be done by using a VPN. Unless you live in a country where VPNs are banned, then you must use a bridged connection to the Tor network, so you save yourself from a lot of hassle or drama, especially in a country like Iran. In my next video about Tor, I will show you how to use Tor browser in a Unix virtual machine, using VirtualBox to emulate Unix. This is the best way to use Tor, as it is running in an isolated environment, all while keeping you private on the web. You can compartmentalize your applications using several Unix machines. If for example you mine Bitcoin or do Bitcoin tasks, or you like to look at a lot of dark web or deep web websites, or you want a machine specifically for transferring Monero, which is the most secure form of payments, it too is a cryptocurrency. I may cover cryptocurrency and Bitcoin in a future video. Unix is a Linux operating system, so it is completely free and open source, which means you can browse privately without paying a single cent, and the Tor browser is also free and open source. It is kept alive by donations from contributors and donators. This will be part of my Privacy Focus series, a short series where you will see videos focused on staying private on the web, and these videos will be ones showcasing Tor, Unix, Tails OS, and some other privacy tools, such as password managers, VPNs, etc.